Hi, everyone. Welcome to Salt and Pepper podcast. I am Shakira Season.
Hi everyone, I'm Lia and Happy New Year, Happy 2024. Hello everyone.
Kamusta ka naman? Kamusta?
Wow, that's really like a deep word, no? Kamusta lang parang ang dalim.
Loaded question ba yun? Loaded question.
Di ba? I'm okay. Yes.
I'm glad you're okay. We will discuss later why that was such a loaded question for you.
Yes, actually super loaded, diba? So I think everyone's already thinking about it kasi new face and new voice with Shakira.
Yeah. Well, I just want to express how happy I am to be back here doing podcasts again. I know that this is a different set of faces, and I'm very glad that you're no longer behind the scenes. So I'm just so happy to be doing this and that you agreed to do this with me.
Me too. I'm actually super excited. Something new. Hindi naman kasi din ako shy, pero the other podcast was really also exciting for me. So I'm glad you're happy doing this again. Na-miss mo ba?
I really missed it. I really enjoyed the time that we spent doing K-Talk. I'm glad nga na you're my co-host now. Of course, you know, I had a great run also with Karen, but I'm glad to be sharing this stage with you now. Me here in Las Vegas and you in Toronto. So I'm very excited about this. You know, what I really enjoyed about doing K-Talk before was that we had a routine, right? So parang we just had like, you know, we were constantly in touch. We had we like a weekly or like twice a month, like hangout virtually on a regular basis. Tapos parang naka-turn on yung creative switch natin. We were always open to learning new things and new ideas, and we were always eager to share it with our listeners. So I know we had an audience who followed our podcast, and they have been looking for a continuation of K-Talk. So that's why Lee and I were inspired to continue this and to provide what you guys have followed for so long. Ikaw ba, what did you miss about our podcast days?
What I missed, I really missed yung collaboration. I mean, although we talk a lot naman and we share our ideas, but what I really liked about it is when like now, diba, we thought about doing it again, and you said, you know, it's a nice way to share our creativity or, you know, just to release. And I was thinking about it na parang, oo nga, parang that's something good. And also I'd like to share to the audience, yes, audience na talaga, or viewers, na it's nice. I didn't really think about that until Kia said that na it's a good way to release your creative ideas. I think everybody has that naman eh. It depends on what it is. And this one, it was true. Nga napaisip na, oh nga eh. I mean, you know, when we talk, one, we have to think about it. And then two, we enjoy sharing our ideas. And then just putting it all together and actually listening and doing it. Yun ang nakakamiss. And then, yun, the fun part is just really getting to share things and still getting to know each other pa. Diba?
Yeah,
we already know each other, and then we still know, we get to know more things about each other pa in a deeper level pa nga eh. So yun ang nakakamiss. But now I'm so happy we're here, and it's gonna be really interesting. Let's see how it goes, diba? And yes, to the audience, thank you. I mean, cool, you send messages and you really ask for it. So that was nice. That was actually interesting na parang, okay, at least it's not only for us. Kasi ako, I enjoyed it. I learned so much. Others pala learned and enjoyed it as well. So, thank you.
Pero talagang naghahanap talaga sila ng next episode. Kailan ba daw babalik yung K-Talk? And, you know, I think when we started talking about this and coming up with this idea, I think we were both very inspired. But why don't you tell everybody, just a brief cuento of how Salt and Pepe came about.
Okay. So, that's why, di ba, loaded question nga yung tanong ni Kia kanina, kamusta ka? One word, or how are you, right? And then it's like something I couldn't answer right away. Long story short, you don't see Karen here. Well, she decided, or yeah, we're no longer together. In other words, hindi ko talaga masabi, no? Panalo sa first episode natin. Anyway, so that's the kwento. So, of course, Kia's a friend, diba? Something happened to your life personally, you reach out, we talk about it, and then in the days that we've been talking, we decided, you know what? Let's have this one, and it's a nice one. It's as she said a while, or I said a while ago, it's a good outlet. And then actually, touch nga kay Kia, she said, you know what? I want to do this because gusto kitang bantayan, or gusto kitang subaybayan, or see how you are. And it's it's not really like imposing. At least we get to talk. So that's the short kwento about why this came about, and we decided let's just go on because there was something already prior, and then we just wanna do it again.
I think we should give our viewers a little bit of history. Lia and I have known each other since 1998, so that's going to be mga 26 years. That's siguro that's like probably older than some of the listeners here of this show, but we met in the late 90s in a chat room on gay.com called Filipino Lesbians Online. It was the first of its kind. Wala na siya ngayon, but we both met a lot of people there. But I think through the years, I think Lia and I have just kind of orbited around each other's lives through relationships and like moving abroad, through marriage, and so every so often we would get in touch, and then when we had K-Talk, like mas regular yung communication, and I think we really have a lot of things in common with each other. And I guess this time na parati tayong nag-uusap before we started talking about this show, I think we got reminded na we share so much with each other, our ideas. We're just very reflective and introspective that way. And, siguro some people will call it madrama, but I don't think so. I think we're just very self-aware. So we thought that it's like a good, a good way to share this with other people, right?
Yes, exactly. And of course, diba, because it's a podcast, so there should be a title, there should be a branding. So we were talking about it now. Let's continue with the podcast, and of course we can't have K Talk, right? Because there was a meaning why it was K Talk before. So when I think about us, Kia and I, it's really about the salt and pepper hair.
Because I think like a few years ago, we started like having a contest on who's getting grayer through the years. So you guys can like tell us in a poll who's actually grayer, because I think we're just both getting older and we both just embraced our salt and pepper hair. So I think that's why we were leaning towards that title, right?
Yeah, so I thought about salt and pepper, and then you said you agreed naman. But of course, so our title actually, if you see, it's not really salt and pepper. And then so we were thinking, let's think of some other titles pa. So we were thinking, and then of course, and when Kia thought of Salt and Pepe, I was like, okay, only Kia would think about that. So, ikaw, ba't naman naging Salt and Pepe at the end?
I would think absolutely you probably would never go for it kasi baka masyado. Masyadong I don't know, people might think it's bastos or what, but I just felt like pag-uusapan natin kundi like katomboyan or just being a woman. So why not include that as like not just a pun, but just to make everyone know that womanhood, sex are private lives, our body parts, they're all front and center. We're not hiding anything, and everything's up for discussion. And I guess because our personalities are similar that way, I think we both agree that that's a great title, diba?
Yes. Exactly. It's really a good. I said it right away. Gulat na ako, you thought na I would not think na okay siya eh. But, diba? Being constructive.
I wanted to make sure baka napipilitan ka lang. Because for me, it's like, of course, we'll deal with the backlash later on.
But yeah, yun nga yung, and with that, of course, I'm sure our Filipino audience are amused about it already and like, thinking about it, wow, what a title, diba? For our international audience, snacks, may ganon, can you give a background what Pepe is, at least, so they will
So Pepe is like a slang Tagalog term for vaginas. So along with pek-pek, pipi, what else do you call it? Puke.
Okay, yun.
It's also Pepe, but they wanted to come up with like a pun on salt and pepper, so we thought that it would be great to use that instead. So that's the meaning of that word.
And with that, ano nga ulit, how do you pronounce it? I mean, meron ba siya? Kasi it's not only just P-E-P-E.
I forgot what that's called. Kung kumpit ba siya or what? We have to ask the Tagalog experts in our audience. What do you call that? Because when I looked it up, I think it's called circumflex E, which has the thing on top. So that just denotes na parang may hard stop siya, or they call it like a ano ba yung tawag din, parang hard stop in the end. So instead of like Pepe, like Pepe and Pilar, it's Pepe. Yeah. Or Pepe, but you can pronounce it whichever way you want. But as long as it's not Pepe. Pepe Le Pew.
Yes. Sige. So for this, our podcast, ano for you, what would be our gist? I mean, what do you see us talking about for this?
I think similar to K-Talk, right? We're kind of like targeting slightly older Pinays, mostly women, particularly queer women. I feel like we could always use more representation. We could always use more voices. So that's, a lot of our topics are similar to K-Talk, but I think because we have Lia now front and center and not just behind the scenes, I think it's gonna be a completely different discussion because I think pareho naman tayong mahilig. I wouldn't say mahilig dumada, but we like to think about things and we like to share our ideas, and I feel like we're less restrained on sharing, our deepest thoughts and our deepest feelings. So I think that's something that would be great to impart, and share with others.
For me, I think this one, as you said, similar, but I think this would be
Also,
yes. It's gonna be a little bit bolder, diba? Parang because of us, exactly. Kanina sinabi mo, we're talking about sex. Wow, diba? I mean, something that some topics maybe that we didn't discuss the last time, looks like we'll be discussing here, and as you shared, diba? Hindi naman talaga tayo nahiya. Hindi man walang shame, diba? Hindi man walang hiya. Pero we are bold enough, or we can just talk about anything, especially like our body parts. Title pala nga, diba? I mean,
yeah.
It's something that we're comfortable. I don't think siguro some topics maybe, but I don't think we'll be shy to really share what our thoughts are.
I guess it's just kind of like sharing what the usual conversations that we have with our friendship over the past decades, because we always have these conversations anyway, no matter kung anong nangyayari sa respective lives namin nila. We're always talking about how everything makes us feel, our ideas and everything. So it's a good thing to share with others, I think, especially sa mga topic na a little bit taboo, and also people are really hesitant to talk about. So hopefully we're able to share this with you guys, and we're getting started, so we're just still figuring out how this is all going to work, and what shape it's going to take. But thank you for giving us a chance again.
Yes. So now let's go and start. So this is our first episode. As you can see, it's moving on, right? So that's our topic. So why do you think we need to talk about this topic?
I guess it's also timely kasi it's New Year, right? So bagong taon, usually we're always moving on away from something and starting something new, even if it's just a new year. Moving on is something that we all do, several times in our lives. It could be moving on from a place or a job or a relationship, but it's a fairly common experience, and sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's very challenging, right? So we thought that it's a good topic to start with, because also this whole podcast and this whole project is also part of both our moving on process. And so we thought it's the best episode 1 topic for all of you.
Yeah, and when we talk about naman moving on, it's also not naman all sad, diba? Sometimes when you move on because there's something better for you.
I think that we want to focus also on the pressure that we all have to move on. I think especially when the loss is like something that's painful, when you're feeling grief. These feelings are so powerful that instead of like dwelling on it or sitting with these feelings, parang the easiest fix that we can all think of is to just replace what we lost, whether it's a job or it's a person that we lost. So I think it's good to talk about this and to also understand that for the most part, the very specific thing that we lost, no matter what it is, it's always irreplaceable because it's always unique. Even though we'll find another place, we'll find another job, we'll find another person for us, just dealing with that very unique loss, I think, is a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, especially because when you're like in a certain moment, you're always comfortable, and then moving on really changes everything or shakes everything. So with this, ikaw, what is the point when one should move on?
I think one thing to ask yourself is if something still serves you. If it's like a job, if it's no longer fulfilling, or you feel more depleted or miserable, then you feel like a job is enriching you. If you feel like you've outgrown a particular place, or in terms of like a relationship or friendship, if holding on like feels like it's more harmful than helpful to you, I think these are good reasons to consider moving on, right? Ikaw naman, like, do you believe that you should quit while you're on top or you're ahead, or you try to stay for as long as possible?
When you think about this topic or this line, no, parang it's usually for the older athletes, diba? Kunyari, if they're in their prime, kahit old na sila, still champions, will they stay or, antay ba nila malaos or something like that? For me, um, it's when you're no longer happy. Lang sa akin. I mean, if you're in your prime and you still want to stay and, malaos ka, but you're enjoying what you're doing, I think you don't move on yet until you're not happy anymore. Or, kasi nga, I'm also a team player, if I'm detrimental to the team already or yung ginagawa ko, it's not good for the group, I think sometimes you just have to, face it and, set aside your ego and let the others continue. Diba? If your perspective is open, if you're open, then if you're already detrimental to the group. As yung nga sabi ni Kia, if there's no purpose or you're no longer, what's it said? Service? What you said? Serving?
It no longer serves you.
Serves you also. And others actually as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point to move on.
I'm not saying that the moment there's like something unpleasant, you just run away or stop moving on. I think especially as we mature and as now that we're older, we truly try our best to make things work. Diba? I think we've learned enough from previous experiences to know when we found something or someone special, and then we try our best to keep that and to make our own compromises or to really work on it and put our best effort in. But sometimes, no matter what you do, wala talaga, or it doesn't make you happy, or one person is not happy, or one or both people decide that it's no longer for them. So in the process of moving on, like parati ko narinig tong 3-month rule. So can you enlighten me what this 3-month rule is?
Basically, that's really in relationships, right? So when you decide to end the relationship, syempre mag-isa ka na lang, diba? So the 3-month rule is they're saying that you have to wait for 3 months before you start meeting others. So parang yun, just wait for that time before you get to know other people, maybe in your process of moving on. So that's the 3-month rule. Ikaw, in your past, did you actually think about this rule? Siyempre, sobra nating friends, alam ko na yung mga relationships na nangyari sa'yo, no? So,
yeah. Well, parang ako yung binubuking mo. Ako dapat yung bubuking sa'yo. But did I ever think about the rule? First of all, like, I think itong rule na to, na 3-month rule, I probably just started hearing about this in the last
true.
10 years. This is a relatively new term. And then when I heard about it, parang sino bang who came up with that rule? And why is this like a rule na kailangan like you either wait 3 months, or it's just a strange thing to know. Well, it didn't exist back then. I'm not making that an excuse, but I have to be honest, if you know my history. Well, I've been with the same person for 21, going on 22 years now. But before that, I didn't really have a lot of grace period. Relationships, maybe the longest, I don't know, maybe mga 2 months or something. But yeah, so I'm just wondering about this 3-month rule. I'm wondering, like, is it intended for the one who left or the one who got left, right? So parang sino bang nagbe-benefit dito? Like, are you supposed to not see people because you left somebody, so therefore out of respect don't find someone else? Or is that an expectation from the person who got left na parang, oy, wag ka naman munang to jump into another relationship because it's going to be like too like hurtful? So I'm just wondering about that term. Like, why is there a predetermined time that people are supposed to get over their heartbreak or to be ready?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Just wondering about that. Kasi, I mean, personally, I don't like any like these rules in relationships and break, especially because parang napaka-arbitrary naman ng time period. It's very specific. Like 3 months can be different to different people, diba? For some people, it's very long. For some people, it's too short. Some people believe that if you came from a long relationship, that you should spend a year or 2 years or more to really process everything, right? So I guess I do understand why people feel the need to make these rules na parang may understanding, so para may usapan, I guess, to not hurt or offend anyone. But I think like whatever you can pretend to set any kind of date or time, but I think in reality, if you force yourself to start dating again or not date again, like you'll really learn in the course of your new relationship or the new person you're dating whether or not you're ready, right? Kasi you can say, oh, I'm going to start, basta ayoko na, sawa na akong umiyak, so I'm going to just date anybody. You will quickly learn whether you're ready or not, or worse, you might jump into a relationship like obviously not being ready, and then you'll bring your baggage or the bad things that you didn't process yet and start to affect the new relationship, which could have had like a lot of potential because you haven't processed the loss from the previous one. How about you? Have you followed this rule?
No. Talagang no ka agad eh. Exactly what you said. The rule just came out like exactly. So yung mga
Yes.
15 years ago, parang, ha? May ganun palang rule, di ba? It's so nice kasi nga, we'll talk about this, you know, when you get older, right, you tend to really now think of, ask other opinions, diba? So ito nga nag-usap kami ng mga friends ko that, and it's nice thing that I, just recently lang to, we were talking about relationships, na when a person pala, for example nga, may rebound, ganun, it's okay sometimes to go in a relationship when you're not super yet okay, diba? Kasi then you'll find out, oh gosh, there's are things na I have to resolve pa pala, diba? Or meeting other people na parang hindi kailangan sobra ka ng okay before you meet others. Kasi there's also a nice way na kahit, you know, you're okay, but not super okay, you'll discover more na parang, oops, exactly what you said a while ago na, oh, when you go into a relationship, ay meron pa pala akong kailangan i-resolve. Diba? For me, exactly, no rules kasi nga others, maybe meeting other people right away is their way of moving on, diba? When we naman say the rule of, it doesn't mean na magiging girlfriend mo o magiging asawa mo na yon, diba? So
Yeah.
sometimes it's just meeting other people, dating around, and then not going into a serious relationship, and maybe doing things or changing things that you've done before, and now you're trying something new. So ako, as long as you're comfortable, diba? And yung hindi mo naman papasok ka nga dun sa new person and you talk about your past, nag-date ka pa, diba? Kausapin mo ng mga kaibigan mo, may inis lang yung dinate mo, parang nag-date pa tayo, diba? So, nakakainis naman yon, right? I mean, it's nice. Also be conscious naman to the person that you know, if you meet somebody new, go out. Yung effort naman na not to just talk about the past, diba? At least yon when you're that ready. So
because I mean, I don't also think na you really know na parang, ay, ready na ako, or like, ay, okay na ako. Like, you might believe, like, for a day or a period of time, you know what, I'm feeling okay. I think I'm ready to explore what's out there. But any kind of relationship that you've been in, you know, something will trigger you or kind of like, you know, tap you on the shoulder saying, oh, this is uncomfortable. There's something that you need to resolve first before this relationship becomes deeper.
True. Exactly. Kasi, wow, naman, diba? It's not, kasi if it goes deeper, tapos hindi pa maayos, nako, another moving on again, kasi hindi ka pa okay. So, do you think there should be like a conscious effort na parang, no, I should meet, no, I should not meet? It's hard, no? You're really testing your brain, no?
That's a good question. Whether there should be a conscious effort to meet, not to meet someone new, basically parang reserve yourself.
Isipin mo talaga.
And not yet like go out into the world, which we actually have full control over, right? And you know, this is something that I never thought about being a young person, because you know, you just kind of just like went with the flow and you never really understood why you have to take your time or think about things. Parang, okay, what's next, right? Because you're just in such a rush to move on to the next part so that you don't have to deal with things. But you know, when you're in between relationships, it's a very rare opportunity actually to get to know yourself again, right? Because it's good to find out what you've learned in your previous relationships, also what went wrong or what you can do better next time. Because we all change in relationships, you can't deny that. We change as people, we grow, like especially if you came from a long-term relationship. And mature ka din, we're all constantly changing, especially like, you know, through the years. the decade that you spend, you're a completely different person from back then. So in between relationships, you can take the time to reflect on how you change as a person and how you want to be going forward, and what kind of relationship or job or any place you actually, that's the moment where you actually have the most control. When you can set your goals, you can set your targets, right? It's the same as starting a new job. Because when you start a new job, kahit sa interview pa lang, or when you start your new job, you get asked like, what are your expectations? What are the mile markers or the targets that I need to meet, and what's expected of me? It's a good time to do that, because when you're already deep into a relationship, ang dami ng feelings and emotions involved, and you have so many things to consider that you don't get to think about the bigger picture. It's something that you can set for yourself before you jump into a new relationship. If you have a tendency, for example, to be too attached or too needy, or you're too much of something, you can actually make a conscious effort. You know what? This time I'm going to, process the feelings that I have myself before I affect my partner. These are just examples of like good things to think about before starting something new. So I think that's really the only reason that you want to take a pause, and not because you're following some kind of rule established by someone else, but maybe your own rule until I figure out the next course of action or the path that I want to chart, then that's the only time na I'm going to start again. Pag meron na akong plan, and not go into it blindly na bahala na and whatever. Because don't they always say that if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. So if you don't have an idea for yourself of how you want to handle relationships, or how you want to handle your own emotions or your own self, what's going to happen is someone's going to come along and dictate that for you. And if you're not strong enough, that can last decades, that can last many years. Na you're not controlling the situation, and you're deep inside not happy because you're not following the path that you want for yourself. So something to think about, especially if you're like especially like again, like at our age now, where we're really just looking for long-term relationships, and we try to really work on our relationships. You don't get these times so often, right? Now you can take a pause, because usually our relationships, like if we choose like the right people, and we give the right amount of effort, they last a long time. So you don't really get this very rare opportunity to just think about what you want for yourself and for the next relationship or partner. Right?
Yeah, sobra kayo, no? Like, really having that conscious effort talaga, not, to step. Hindi ka kailangan magmadali. I mean, if you like somebody, you can also still step back, because that person, that somebody might be there pa rin, di perfect, right? I mean, it's really that conscious effort for yourself, really. That's a good thought.
And I think like, because we're already at this age too, and we're pretty mature, and I think if you've done your own homework in your life, and you're kind of like in touch with your emotions, I think at this age, kaya mo na actually sabihin to the next prospective partner while you're starting that, hey, I just came from a long relationship, I feel like I'm ready to start something new, but of course we're always dealing with our own things, so there may be times ganyan blah blah blah. Kaya mo nang i-articulate yung feelings mo, as opposed to before nung bata ka, because you don't really know what's going on pag bata ka. You're just kind of like swept by things, right? Bigla na lang, no, there's a big fight because you did something that shows that you're not ready. But now you actually are driving. You can drive You can drive this car, you can drive the relationship, you can drive your dating life, and you can put on the brakes, and you're confident enough in yourself, hopefully, na para sabihin na, okay, wait a minute, we're having a disagreement, but really it's because blah, blah, blah. Hopefully,
Ganun
right?
pala, yes. Yeah, and then, for example,
Hopefully.
if somebody can always say, you know what, I really find you interesting, but I'm at this point, if you don't mind, I like to get to know you better. But something like that.
Right.
I could not say, my gosh, in my 20s, I'm like,
No.
tapos gusto ko to babaeng to, she might baka mawala siya, di ba? I have to date her, I have to show her
Yeah.
everything right away. At this point,
Yeah. I remember like being young, tapos kung ako yung masabihan na, hold on 1 second, I want to get to know you better, and it's so slow, I'm so turned off, right? Kasi parang feeling ko, wait, do you like me or not? Because if you like me, let's not step on the brakes. Let's just go do the U-Haul, whatever. Let's just go like full force into this, and no thinking or whatever. Like there's no get to know you better or whatever. There's no pause. Because in order for you to have that, you really need to be secure about yourself. Because I think when you're young, you have nothing to lose, right? You really have nothing to lose kasi parang you don't have the life experience, and you don't have like the painful experiences of long relationships ending. So parang bahala na. Kung ma-disappoint, ma-disappoint, I'll just get back up, whatever. I feel like at a certain age, we don't really have that luxury anymore, and we're more protective of ourselves that way. Kasi also, we've also built ourselves and our own lives and our own personalities to know that there are times when it's really much better to be by yourself than to be in a bad situation or a bad partner. So parang you don't want to just give that up, right? For the wrong person, or if it's not going to be like a worthwhile relationship that benefits both partners. So lots of things that you learn now, and these are different conversations that we're having that we could never have had before when we didn't know better.
Yes.
Right?
True.
So these are the valuable opportunities and the lessons of remaining single for a little bit after a breakup. And you're going through a little bit of this right now. Hope you're doing okay.
Thanks. So, regarding right now, so if we have new audiences, so if we're talking about K-Talk podcast before, that was Kia's podcast with my then wife. Wow, then wife talaga, no? Karen. Fortunately, we're no longer together. We were married. Oh my gosh, ito na. No, we were married, and we're no longer together. So right now, the conscious effort, I guess. Yeah, I think it's a conscious. Actually, I'm not even thinking of. Parang it's really not in my system right now to meet anyone because we were married, eh. Diba? Parang marriage is such it's really a big step compared to just. I mean, also living in and everything, but it's the same thing. Like just being thinking that jowa ko yan, or partner ko yan, or girlfriend ko yan, diba? Or something like that. Marriage, it entails a lot, right? Because I wouldn't commit to get married if I don't think I want to be with that person for the rest of my life. Because as you say, at a certain age, you have that perspective na eh. You think about it. Like, this person I really like. And can I, like, day in, day out, wake up with this person every day? Karen, I decided that. And, ayun na. I decided that, and siya talaga gusto kong makasama habang buhay. I wanted to be with her for the rest of my life. It's not I can be with her. It's I want to be with her. I've had past relationships na long relationships, but it's I can. It's not a want. With Karen, I wanted to be with her. There are just some situations it just happened exactly what you said a while ago. Sometimes biglaan lang, it just happens. And we're no longer together. So with this, I don't think I it's really not in my system. For the first time. For the first time, because I've been to breakups na parang this will be okay, I'll meet somebody else. May ganun. I know, siguro naman I'll meet somebody else. This one, parang, there's really nothing in the horizon. Parang, I'm okay. This marriage, I found out about it. I want to do things on my own. Yun lang. And right now, I don't think, yeah, kahit 3 months, malapit. Actually, if you think about it, siguro if we air this, 3 months.
Oh, it's a strange situation, right? Kasi parang, like we mentioned earlier, how our lives have moved like in a parallel direction. And then because Lee and I are like only a year apart in age, so medyo similar yung stages namin in life. And I think like when you got married and we were both married, parang we were just thinking that this is it, right? I mean, I never had like I never put a high value on marriage just because I didn't have like role models of like a good marriage. But I think once I committed to it and my wife and I decided to do the work on our relationship, and just through the years and being with each other for such a long time, like you really, it's tested all the time. You don't think it is kasi parang pagbata ko, or you've never been married before, and you just think of it as this abstract thing or like this big party, and it's like a legal commitment or whatever. You don't think of it as like a daily commitment where you're always challenged, you're always reminding yourself, and you're always like renewing your commitment, right? So it places a lot of value in that. So I understand now that you're kind of forced into the situation where you don't have that anymore, that you're not thinking of the next one because you're just, I feel like you're also just, it's recent, it's, you're still reeling from that loss, really, to even like think about even replacing that person or that role in your life. It's so far off kasi parang it's just been pulled away from you, right? So parang you're still, I think you're still bleeding.
Super.
I think you're still bleeding at this stage. So wala ka pa dun sa clotting factor, wala ka pa dun sa repair. I think you're not. Wala pa, you're just kind of like, aray, it's bleeding, how do I stop the bleeding? I can like distract myself or whatever, but I really need to just focus on this healing, not getting infected or whatever, before you even think about replacing
Yes.
what was lost. So perfectly understandable. And also to get back, like you just don't expect it at this, I guess, point in our lives, and especially in your situation, it was like completely unexpected. And actually, when we talked, right, when you told us about it, nag-iyakan pa kami sa phone, because it's just so painful. And I guess I really personally felt it too, not just on your behalf and being your friend, but just thinking of it like happening to me after all the time and effort that we both spend on our marriage and our daily life with someone, to just lose that. I just feel like it's so painful. So totally understand why it's so like far away, you're not even thinking about it.
Not even in my radar. Kasi it's not like we had something bad. We really had something good. For me, sometimes thinking about it, ako lang ba? Because we had something beautiful, and it's no longer there. So it's so hard. Exactly what you're saying. Replacing, parang it's so, yes, out of my radar to even think about that, because it was just a wonderful relationship, and I just yes, I guess it's really the 3 month rule. I don't think maybe throughout the podcast we can discuss maybe next year. Oh, what's happening, right? But and we can find out next year where we're at, and then we'll see. But uh, that's why I think I'm okay now because last time when we talked, grabe, 'di ba? Na parang it was it was difficult. It's still difficult because every time people are actually crying, I have to say it's not. Nashock na ako eh. Not naman nashock, parang ako, wow, they really saw it. So it also validates what I think of what we had.
Yeah, because you know what? Everybody is shocked and everybody's sad because everybody saw, the magic that you felt and experienced and whatever, right? So, if it were any other way and your friends or your family were observing something terrible, diba? Tapos it ended. They parang, okay, no, you'll be fine. That's okay. You're better off or whatever. But nobody like really said that. It's really just like a profound sense of loss and grief for you. And also just that feeling of like, you know, you that's already part of everyone's family. Like they're already part of your life. So parang, even like on our end, parang, oh shit, like we also lost her.
Yes.
Right? So parang ang sad kasi parang, syempre pumapapil na parang, oh, hindi naman ako, I didn't get a chance or whatever. Like, but it's like, yeah, we feel for you and we also feel for ourselves. And also you think about how just fragile things are, and you we all take things for granted na parang andyan lang and whatever, especially if it's like unexpected and then it's just suddenly gone. It's so heartbreaking. So, I think you're doing well and you're doing okay, but I also know that it's a constant thing and it's a constant like loss that you also have to bear. But otherwise, like, I think it's good to talk about it. And we have this
Yes.
as a nice tool to
But and yes, if we did it, I guess earlier, I'm sure I'll be bawling, and people have been very supportive. So it's my question. If, for example, sige, I'm ready, kunwari, diba? So if one sets a date, right, to meeting others, how do you think they should start? Parang, okay, eto na. I saw somebody or may pinakilala sa akin. Do you think they should prep? Or, or like, oh, bahala na, let's go.
like you can what and you can imagine how things are gonna go, but when the time comes, it really depends on how you feel, what your situation is, and what your comfort level is in starting to meet people again. And that's why the time in between relationships, I feel like, is so important. Like, I hope I don't have to get to that point again, but if I do, I hope that I have the presence of mind to think about, all that I need to do and process before starting like a next relationship, because the time that you spend right now, it charts the course for the next one, right? So if you prepare, that's what you can prepare for. Actually, you don't prepare for, okay, I'm going to date now, but you prepare yourself and who you are and what you want, and that's how you prepare for the next person, by working on yourself. I think is the best way, instead of like, okay, game, okay, ready na ako, so therefore I need to look like this, I need to talk like this or whatever. No, you need to feel that security in yourself. And they always say na dumadating yung right person when you're the right person too, or when you decide na actually I'm good and I really don't need the next person, and that's the time that the next person will come, because you're already complete and you're already the right person, and you're not looking for someone as a crutch, or to like hang on to, or to panakibutas, or to like to heal you, but because you already worked on yourself, I think it's the best way that you can prepare.
True.
Right?
Yourself. Yes.
I know that you said that it's not in the horizon, and maybe by the end of our first season, things will change. But if you like in the imaginary world, and you've had more dating experience, I think, than me in the last 20 years. So I'm really not one to speak or ask, because my knowledge was still from like early 2000s. So wala na talaga akong alam about that. But one day when you decide that, okay, you're ready to see what's out there for you, how do you think you should start? Or how do you think someone should start?
I like what you said kasi nga we're at this age, diba? So, although I'm going through something, I think I have already some background knowledge on
Yeah.
how to do about it, go about it. So, tama yung sinabi mo, like, you should prepare yourself so when you go into this, you can take the driver's seat, right? It's not like you're gonna dictate everything, but you know exactly what you'll be
Mm-hmm.
doing in that relationship. So, first of all, it's just being just, you're okay. Like, yung kakasabi ko lang a while ago, right? That you go there and then you talk about your past and nagkwentuhan lang kayo. So parang there's the objective actually that's why you're gonna meet somebody, right? Because you're ready to meet somebody. And it's nice to be open. Although, I'm not ready, it's not naman that I won't meet other people, diba? Maybe it's not going into a deep relationship, but you have to be open to meeting other people. And then not comparing. So your mindset is that, diba? You're meeting somebody else, make sure that person has a good, has a good time also. Parang be considerate also to that other person because that person said, okay, I wanna meet, let's meet up, let's talk, be considerate. That's one thing. And that will take your mind off whatever you're going through rin naman. So I think when you start is just being open, ready to have a conversation, to have a good time. If you're there and you're still miserable, go out
Iyak ka pa.
with your go out there with your friends, and have a good time with your friends. Mag-inuman na lang kayo or whatever. But if you plan to meet somebody else, make sure that be considerate of that other person, and just have a good time, have a good conversation. I think that's a good start, diba? And for me, always I learned that's just be yourself, talaga. You don't have to put your best foot forward. Then you'll find out, if that person didn't like that they didn't accept it, and then you just meet out somebody else. So I think yun lang. So for me, actually, I'm really just thinking of what I'm going through right now. I'm really just going back to where it all began before I met. Because you know that, Tia, when I went to New York, you knew, diba? Akala ko magiging gigolo na lang ako eh. Alam mo yun, buong buhay ko. Kasi single na ako noon, na parang I was ready to conquer the world, ganyan. And, well, I met somebody, and that I thought that was gonna be like my forever, kung may ganun man. I mean, the person I'd like to be with for the rest of my life, and it was good. But prior to that, it was also good because I was
Yes.
ready to explore the world. And I think I'm just gonna go back there. My mindset is just being open. For me, how do you start is that make sure you're gonna be there to have a good time and be considerate of the person you're gonna meet.
Mhm.
If you're just gonna talk about, yes, I told you, just go out with your friends and just, your friends will understand you and they'll listen to you. Kahit ilang beses mo nang ulit-ulitin how hurt you are, they will be there because you're. But if you're gonna meet somebody else and then you're just gonna tell them how miserable you are, it's not a good first date, diba? Or a first meetup.
I
Yun.
think I think you again, going back to what you said, now you're just gonna go back to where you were before this, plus your added experience and knowledge and wisdom, and also how marriage has opened up your heart to like it just does something, and it's something that I never thought about before. Something that I didn't even think would happen or was happening. It was just um, brought to my attention by my college best friend, who I've also been in touch with for like since like 30 years ago. And she said to me, alam mo, iba ka na ngayon kasi nag-asawa ka na. Yung mga taong kasing nag-asawa, like, you know, you have to have a bigger heart because of the commitment that you have to your spouse. You have to be more understanding. You make more compromises. At saka, more importantly, you develop this patience because your world expands. You know, the family and friends that your spouse has, right? You have to accept them, and you have to deal with the challenges of all these people and all these like shortcomings and all these things. So sabi nung friend ko si Rolly, sabi niya, you know, parang bumait daw ako. Like, bumait daw ako. I became more patient. And I didn't even know this because I don't think of myself as like someone really that mabait or well-intentioned or like a kind person or whatever. But she said like, actually like, you know, di na ako, I guess, masyadong maangas because you just learn when you're kind of like immersed in this lifelong commitment that you're always working on. It softens you, and it kind of like it's just a different kind of commitment. Not to say that people don't have this if you don't have the legality of marriage, because a marriage can be, it doesn't have to be a legal thing. But if you like, you know, you and your partner call what you have a marriage, then it's a marriage regardless of what, you know, the law and where you are allows. But it just does something different to you. So I think when you go back to where you were, you're armed with all this also new things that you learned about yourself being married, right?
Unconditional talaga yung love. Like, it's really something. It's family talaga. That's what I experienced. So since we're still talking about moving on, what do you
Mhm.
think is the hardest part of moving on?
You know, parati akong nasasabihan nito na, you know, when I'm in a relationship, nasasabihan ako na iba ka na, nagbago ka na. And you're like supposed to feel bad about, you know, changing for or during a relationship. But to me, I think it's a natural effect kasi if you're trying to make something work, of course, nagbabago ka as a person. Like, you know, if you really work on a relationship and you have that 24/7 togetherness with your partner, the intimacy of the relationship, and I'm not even talking about sex, but just like day in, day out, waking up with this person or like sleeping with this person, and every movement of theirs, you know, it changes you. All the challenges, maybe compromises or the disagreements that you have, the challenges will change you because you make room for this person in your life, right? And all the ways that they change through the years, and you're also changing. So parang it's a constant making room, you know, making room for this person or in each other's lives, right? So, you know, when they say that your partner, the choice of your partner has the biggest effect on your life, because you try to become one with this person, you try to compromise, you try to make like a special like combination of the love that you have with each other, as long as along with your different personalities, and you create like a special like unity or a unique blend of your life together. So of course, kung pangit yung values nila, di papangit din yung values mo, you know. So the very specific space that we allow our partner to occupy in our life it's very unique. So para siya, there's like a jagged piece, para siyang puzzle piece or like a jagged piece that fits perfectly in our lives. So of course, because you're all your own person too, ang hirap when this is lost. Kasi it's a very specific loss of a very specific person, and all the places that you've carved in your heart for this person and for this thing to work, it's taken away from you. So the loss is so very specific. And then pag nawala yun, parang you just feel so orphaned because you made all these changes in yourself and you're not the same person anymore, right? From before. Kasi you don't even know whether you can keep those changes. Are they permanent? Do they make sense without this person? Or if you can even stand on your own as this changed person without the other person who facilitated this change in you. So I think that's the hardest part of moving on, is just trying to juggle all these pieces and trying to make them fit back in without that the catalyst that created this change in you for the better a lot of time, actually for the better, and all the good things that they also did in your life. And like, from what I know about you guys, like I always thought and believed that your marriage was, and that person was very good for you. So right, so just losing that, para, I think it's so hard to move on because you just don't know who you are sometimes anymore and how you're going to move forward after spending like almost a decade making room for this love and this person.
True. Tumal. Ano namin eh. Diba? Wedding anniversary namin next week.
Mm.
Whew. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's a hard part. It's a hard part.
Yeah.
Especially that.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know if we've already discussed what have you learned in your journey so far.
So this is actually what I want to share with the viewers about what I've learned in my journey so far. The most important thing I've learned in this journey, I don't want to say you can't do it alone because some people are built that way, but it's better not doing it alone. Ayan, dito talaga ako naiyak because when I share this with people, um, yung outpouring ng love, tsaka ng support, friendship, it was overwhelming. It's something I never thought, you know, um, I'd experience. Parang, I know, because first of all, I surrounded myself with good people. As you get older, di ba, nafe-filter mo naman talaga yun eh. And you know who to reach out to talk to. So when I reached out, kasi syempre, common friends din naman, di ba? At least, for me kasi, eventually people will know. Di ba? But there are some people that you want na manggaling sa'yo. So when I shared this information, really didn't expect. I know they would, of course, console me kasi we're friends, di ba? Everyone, whoever, family. Pero the words, it was just super helpful. Kasi ako rin, knowing me kasi I'm very independent. I know I can do it on my own, may take time, but I never realized how better it would be. Kahit a handful of people lang yon, just to share because they have galing eh. Diba? It's same but different. Pero yung pinaka magandang pakinggan was when they said, you are loved. Everyone. Yun ang common na sinabi lahat ng tao. Because it's hard. What I'm going through is really hard. I always ask, and what's so nice about it? Because when you get older, your friends naman talaga are not unlike before telebabad, right? We're like that every day in day out. Here, it's like after 2 months, kamustahan, ganon. It's like that now. They will just text, "How are you?" That text every day makes me smile. Wow, alam mo yon na parang one question makes your day. So that's what I learned. Do not, as much as possible, try not to do it on your own. Especially when you get older. Kasi when you're younger, talagang friends talaga una mong kakausapin eh. When you get older, usually dahil na experience mo na, and maybe you don't want to bother people. That's me kasi it's my personality. It's helpful, especially something like this, especially if you have something really good and you don't, hindi naman ako at a loss. Kasi nga, I told you, I'm very independent. I can go from where I started. Pero as Kia said a while ago, yes, I'm in the bleeding part pa rin. Kasi nga, we had something good. I have to say, we had something good and beautiful. So that's why people, I guess, are just really consoling me because they knew what we had and we can't say anything else. Diba? Na parang, they can say, iwan mo na, walang kwenta. Alam mo yun, hindi naman kasi ganun yun eh. They knew. It was a good marriage. So, that's that's the biggest thing I learned. And it was a nice feeling. Na if you have the right people around you, good friends, moving on, may take time. Everybody says that. We know that. Ang tanda ko na yun. Like ko sinasabi sa akin, ang tanda ko na for heartbreak, di ba? Last heartbreak ko lang yung elections natin. Pero this one, I didn't think it would still happen to me at this age, di ba? But of course, there's no age naman for that. Pero because we're survivors, that's what I always tell. We're all survivors. We know that time will really heal. But that's really what I learned. And dun talaga ako naiiyak. Kumbaga, what happened, the situation, I remember it's in the podcast too. You said all relationships end. It depends din lang kung ano. Diba? So, it's inevitable naman. Pero, syempre, masakit the way it was. Pero, yun lang. What I learned is, it's better if you reach out and there are people around.
Well, I've said this before. I'm not worried about you because you're really, you're really one of the best people that I know. And when I think about, how you're so touched by, everyone's outpouring of like emotions and their generosity towards you, I think it's just because this is what you've given everybody all these years, your kindness also, and your generosity and your friendship, and being a good friend and also good family member, good relative to everyone. So naturally, when now that you're the one who needs help, like everybody is coming to your aid because that's also what you've given others consistently, in the past. So of course, everyone is jumping all over themselves to just make sure that you're okay. And we're always on our end wondering, thinking about you, worrying about you. But in the end, I'm not worried about you. You're going to be fine and you're going to do well. It's just really hard and painful right now. And what you said is like to reach out. Like, ako personally, like, I don't even know if I'm that brave or if I'll have that kind of courage, or just like, because I'm also very like independent minded, and I'm also always thinking that I'm bothering people. And I hope that, I won't get to that point where I'm going to, need that much help. But I think eventually in all of our lives, we're all going to experience a loss, whether it's a relationship, a family member, or something, and we're going to have to lean on someone. And I think what we've all given to others is what we're going to get in return. And I guess you don't really know, right, what you give others until it's your turn. Because like for me, I'm like afraid. I'm like, I think I've been mean, so maybe I won't get anything back. But the fact that you know and you're constantly reminded that you're loved, I think is like a huge thing, and everybody just coming to your aid. I think it's such a hard time, and like every time I talk to you about it, like, you know, we can have a crying session each time, and I know that it's the same for everyone that you talk to, right? You know, so it's just a hard time, but I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that everybody, like everyone knows that you're going to be fine.
Yes, and that's also what they say. But but I just want to say thank you. That's all I can always say is thank you, diba? Pero
Yeah.
kasi nga, I think what you said is like, because that's the only thing. If I'm a billionaire, I think I could share money. But what you can share is what I can share time, I can listen. But that's what I can say, just thank you. Anyway, so since I'm going through this, so what do you think one should make sure they're doing or not forgetting in the process of moving on? I know you've said a lot of things already to me, but what do you usually tell your friends when they're in that state or when they need to move on?
I think instead of focusing on the moving on to the next relationship, I think we should all focus on moving on as your new self and try to secure the person you're going to be. Like, figure out who you are after the last relationship and what you want for yourself, for the next person, and for the next relationship, and always like have a conscious effort to try and do better. Because I think, like, if you don't take this step, you stand to repeat the same mistakes. You lose that great opportunity to just be a better partner, or just, you know, just that unique time in your life where you can actually pause and think and kind of regroup and then set your goals and objectives. So I think that's probably what I would tell people who are in this like unique situation of having a chance to kind of like redirect, or, you know, decide how it's gonna go, because we are always in the driver's seat. And I think as we get older, we realize that we can't be a passenger anymore.
True.
Right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And what a great conversation, and I wish that we could go on forever,
I
but there are
know.
more episodes to come. Hope you all enjoyed this time that we've spent with you guys, and let us know what you think. Really grateful to still have you guys around. So thanks so much.
Yes, thank you. A new face here. I hope you enjoy this one. Thank you for listening, and we'll be here. And hopefully, you continue listening, and you can be part of maybe my journey, and you'll see what happens. Right? We'll have a lot of stories, and yep. Thank you so much.
I think people are going to follow just to see your progress.
Yeah. See, right now I'm smiling again. Before I go, I like to share what an office mate placed, right? So it says gratitude. Sorry, what was that? Did I say that? Grief and happiness can share the table. So I really, that one stuck with me until now, because I'm going through something, and those who are moving on, you're going through something. There are some good things also, and be open to that as well. So yun lang. So that's why I can see I'm also laughing, smile, because nga, again, friends like Kia are there.
You're a great, wonderful person, Leah. So only good things are coming your way.
Let's see. So with that, of course, you can always reach us. We have a really cool website. Ito talaga so excited. It's
No,
and
I'm still working on it though. So
diba?
it's not, yeah, still polishing and whatever, but
Yes.
we did build like a website, putting like some stuff on it. So
Sige. Next time pa ba yung URL?
no, you can say it. You
Okay.
can start measuring, just a little patience on our growing pains.
Yeah, but this one's really exciting because it's saltandpepe.gay. Sobrang cool, no? Where can you find that, right? I've never thought in my life. Di ba?
That would have a .gay, right? It's cool. So Aside from our website, we're also on Instagram and Facebook, Salt and Pepé Podcast, on both social media. So it was great having you guys around. Tell
Yes,
us what
thank
you
you.
think. We're really excited for our next topic. So hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much, Lia, for being part of this. I'm so excited about our project.
Me too. I'm so excited. Thank you, Tia. Thank you. All right. Bye.